In a world filled with corruption, Simon, an engineer, fights for revenge and justice after his car is wrongfully towed away on his daughter's special day. His wife had left him when he had no job or money, but when he became famous, she wanted to ride his coattails. Simon, a disciplined middle-aged man and an engineer specializing in demolition using dynamite for large construction projects, leads a structured life in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He shares his journey through the ups and downs of life with his wife, Victoria, and their only daughter. Today happens to be his daughter's birthday, and Simon is determined to ensure it's an exceptional evening for her. After completing his work, he receives an important call from Victoria, stressing the significance of his punctuality. Simon assures her that he will be there on time. As he was returning home, Simon parks his car and decides to make a quick stop at a bakery to purchase a birthday cake for the celebration. As fate would have it, a tow truck is noticed on the same street. To his surprise, when Simon exits the store, he discovers that his car has been towed away. Left with nothing but a flyer containing the instructions to retrieve his vehicle, he quickly hails a taxi and heads towards the specified location. Upon arriving at the designated booth, Simon encounters two discontented individuals expressing their frustration with the corrupt government's insistence on burdening citizens with excessive payments. Driven by a desire to clear his name, Simon approaches the clerk, eagerly intending to explain that he hasn't committed any traffic violations. However, before he can present his case, the clerk abruptly interrupts him, demanding the car's documents. Adding to Simon's dismay, he is informed that the towing fee amounts to 490 pesos, equivalent to $50 at that time. Undeterred, Simon firmly asserts that the parking space where he had left his car lacked the customary yellow markings that typically indicate a tow-away zone. The employee behind the counter shows a complete lack of interest in the situation and informs Simon that if he wants to retrieve his car, he must first pay the towing fees. Additionally, the employee suggests that Simon can file a formal complaint with the Department of Transportation to assert his rights, but only after settling the payment. Simon remains steadfast in his belief that he should be able to get his car back without paying a single penny. He also insists on being reimbursed for the taxi fare he previously paid and demands an apology from an official for the time he wasted. However, the employee responds to his requests with scornful remarks, further infuriating Simon. At this point, the people in line begin objecting, reminding Simon not to waste their time as everyone has their own problems to deal with. Reluctantly, Simon is ultimately forced to pay the required amount. Before leaving, he expresses his anger towards the employee, seeing him as a cog in a corrupt and unjust system, but the employee simply ignores his outburst. As Simon embarks on his journey to his daughter's birthday celebration, he gets caught in heavy rush-hour traffic. When he finally arrives home, he realizes he has nearly missed the entire event. In front of their relatives and friends, he disappoints his family by presenting them with a small cake, causing them considerable embarrassment. As the guests depart, a heated argument ensues between Simon and his spouse. Victoria believes that he could have easily taken a taxi to their daughter's birthday party and accuses him of prioritizing everything else over his family. Exhausted by his actions, Victoria subtly hints at the possibility of divorce, leaving Simon speechless and unwavering in his conviction that he acted rightly. The following day, Simon visits the Department of Transportation to assert his rights. While waiting in line, he comes across a man who has experienced the same issue multiple times. The man suggests that Simon should consider paying the money just to find some peace of mind, as the stress could potentially lead to a stroke. He also advises Simon to prioritize the happiness of his family above all else. Finally, when it's Simon's turn, he approaches the officer in charge and insists that they dispatch someone to the location of the traffic violation to verify his claims. However, the officer dismisses him and simply states that anyone who receives a ticket must pay the fine or face increasing penalties over time. In response, Simon quietly labels the officer as a criminal. This prompts the officer to swiftly summon security. Enraged, Simon seizes a fire extinguisher and proceeds to smash a window until the guards intervene and apprehend him. In a subsequent scene, Simon is released from custody with the help of his colleague and best friend, who posted bail. The incident receives media coverage, and the news associates it with Simon's company, potentially resulting in significant financial losses for the organization. In contrast, it is important to note that the municipality is their main client, and Simon finds himself directly involved in trouble related to them. As a result, the decision is made to terminate Simon's employment, leaving him bewildered and shocked. Simultaneously, his marriage begins to crumble as his wife initiates divorce proceedings. A meeting takes place with their respective lawyers present. Victoria's lawyer argues that since Simon is currently unemployed, he cannot afford to contribute to family expenses such as alimony, their child's school fees, insurance, and other financial obligations. In response, Simon assures them that he will continue to meet the needs of their daughter, just as he has done throughout their marriage. However, Victoria's lawyer seeks a divorce and sole custody of their daughter, emphasizing that she is employed and capable of providing for their child's needs. Trying to maintain his composure, Simon explains that he has only been jobless for a few days, and it is unfair to deny him the opportunity to live with his daughter, especially when he has already made advance payments for future expenses. However, when Victoria's lawyer highlights Simon's outbursts of anger towards her, it becomes evident that his aggressive behavior has been widely documented in newspapers, on television, and even in the presence of a judge. In a fit of frustration, Simon exclaims to his wife, "Are you going to take my daughter away from me? Are you crazy?" Victoria responds passively, allowing her lawyer to conclude the conversation. Ultimately, Simon is forced to relinquish custody of his daughter. Devastated and consumed by anger, Simon diligently applies for countless jobs, despite his impressive resume, only to face constant rejection. It appears that his violent history is working against him, but the truth is that the prevailing power structure has effectively marginalized him from the system. Returning from another futile job search, Simon is disheartened to find his car once again wrongfully towed. The subsequent scene portrays Simon's hands mechanically complying, while his mind rebels against the injustice. This time, he has no intention of seeking justice through conventional means. But after retrieving his car, Simon discreetly places a significant amount of explosives in the trunk. The following morning, he deliberately parks his car in a designated tow zone and calmly walks to a nearby cafe, patiently awaiting the arrival of his acquaintance, a tow truck driver. As he savors a delightful breakfast, Simon catches a glimpse of the tow truck through the cafe window, swiftly towing his car away. Meanwhile, inside the towing office, a woman is informed that she can only pursue legal action after settling her outstanding bills. Fuming with anger, she boldly declares, "You're a corrupt fascist regime!" Suddenly, a colossal explosion erupts, sending waves of panic through the area. Simon triggers the explosives, obliterating both his car and the towing office, without causing harm to any individuals. Soon after, the incident makes headlines on the front pages of newspapers. Opinions vary, with some labeling it as a terrorist act, while others refer to it as an incident. However, the evidence reveals that it was a deliberate act, as Simon had meticulously calculated the explosion's magnitude. This careful planning ensured that there were no casualties involved. Meanwhile, Simon is incarcerated but gains local notoriety, becoming a celebrated figure. He is bestowed with the nickname Bombita, meaning Little Bomb. Social media erupts with millions of hashtags calling for his release. In the concluding scene, Victoria and their beloved daughter present Simon with a tow truck-shaped birthday cake, eliciting a delightful surprise from him. After enduring months of hardship, a genuine smile finally graces his face. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoy the content on this channel, please show your support with like and subscribe, and we would like to hear your movie suggestion for the next recap. See you soon!